Yes, good evening, jammers, and welcome to a brand new episode of the JNC podcast. I'm your host, Brad Brock, and it's National Barbershop Music Day. Yes! Did my best to play the part.
You look snarky, as always.
So tonight we're taking you on a historical journey through this magical harmonic music genre. I'll give you a little insight into barbershop's beginnings and all the way to its place in the modern music world. I've got some great barbershop music breaks lined up for you tonight, and a themed round of Name That Tune. I'm very excited to play this game with you guys.
That should be successful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us tonight. Please give us a follow on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel whilst you're there. Let me introduce the JNC Destruction crew tonight. With me here in the legendary JNC Lounge, as always, is the apple to my eye, Ms. Jordan Taylor.
Hello.
And the baddest bitch this side of the Mason-Dixon line, Ms. Ellys Brock. And wherever Derek is, we're going to find you. But Derek's not with us this evening. But we wish him the best, and we're going to find out where he is. He's a no-call, no-show tonight here. In addition to everything else this evening, you guys will get our headlines from the Jordy Files, a group discussion about work ethic, and Ellys' Bad Bitch Bible Study. And, of course, you'll get all our shameless plugs at the end of the show. But I think we should kick off tonight's episode with our cocktail of the week. This one's celebrating the great Sir Patrick Stewart's 82nd birthday. Here we go. Shot of the week. Hey, jammers. In honor of Sir Patrick Stewart's 82nd birthday, we are celebrating with our cocktail of the week, which is Captain Picard's most favorite drink on the Enterprise, Earl Grey tea hot. And we're going to spice it up with a little Grand Marnier. So let's get to it. Engage. First, of course, you boil some water, and then you get yourself a Earl Grey tea packet. And of course, you steep it very well. And then the last, of course, is adding the good stuff. So we're just going to put 2 ounces of Grand Marnier right in there. You can stir to taste if you feel. Otherwise, cheers. That's boldly going where no one has gone before. Be sure to join us each Wednesday night for our shot or cocktail of the week by visiting jncpodcast.com, clicking on the shot of the week link and seeing what we're planning. And then, of course, you can get everything that you need delivered to your door from our friends at Drizzly.
How did you do that, Brad?
Yeah. I invented the transporter specifically for this segment. Paul says special effects. Special effects be damned. It's a practical effect. I beamed right in and did that. Cheers, you guys. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for being here this evening. I didn't have the time or energy to boil water and make tea, so we're just drinking our individual drinks. But yes, I guess we should dive right into our show tonight, because I feel like I'm dressed the part, and I'm very, very excited about this. It is National Barbershop Music Day. And so a little bit about barbershop music. If you're not familiar with the genre, I know the ladies here, it's true that you guys are probably have heard the term before, but are you familiar at all with barbershop music aside from the aesthetic that you're perceiving?
Duh.
Okay. Well,
I know it when I hear it.
Okay, well, that's good. Be like, oh, that's barbershop music. Okay, well, barbershop harmony is a style of unaccompanied vocal music characterized by consonant four-part chords for every melody note in a primarily homorhythmic, that means the same word sounds at the same time, texture. The melody is consistently sung by the lead, which is usually the second tenor. The first tenor harmonizes above the melody, the bass sings the lowest harmonizing notes, and the baritone completes the chord. Barbershop harmony is rooted in African American traditions of the late 1800s in the South, where the name barbershop music came from. That's a question we're all asking. That's a question I asked myself. Why barbershop? Although barbershop quartet singing is associated with the United States, its origins in the 19th century are obscure. It may date from an era where American barbershops formed social and musical centers for men, or it may refer back to the British expression barber's music, denoting an extemporized, that's a word, performance by patrons waiting to be shaved and referring to a barber's traditional role as a musician. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's something we learn every day. Barbers are supposed to be musicians. So how funny is that? Moving on in that category there, barbershop music was very popular between 1900 and 1919. And some of the most popular quartets were the Haydn Quartet, actually spelled the same way as your brother, Jordan. Isn't that funny?
Stop it.
Haydn.
Wow.
The Haydn Quartet, the American Quartet, and the Peerless Quartet. Modern barbershop quartets often costume themselves in gaudy versions of the vaudeville dress of the time with boaters' hats and vertically striped vests, which I didn't have the striped vest. I did the best I could with what I had, you guys. Composer and pianist Scott Joplin incorporated a barbershop quartet into his 1911 opera Tremonisha. Whoa. Talking.
You sound like me.
I know. I'm going through this just like Jordan would.
You want me to take over?
Maybe. The genre gradually faded into obscurity in the 1920s, although barbershop-style harmonies remained in evidence in a cappella forms of traditional black gospel and white gospel. And moving even into today's, you have the Pentatonics. You have other groups like them where this style perpetuates. Other researchers argue that today's barbershop music is an invented tradition related to several musical features popular around 1900, including quartet singing and the use of the barbershop chord. Whatever the hell that means. But effectively created during the 1940s in the ranks of the Barbershop Harmony Society, which we're going to talk about also this evening, whilst creating a system of singing contests and its contest rules. With all that being said, I think we should take a pause and let you take a listen to an example of barbershop music. This is actually a very fun mashup performed by the 2017 International Quartet Champions, Main Street Quartet, and this is a very cool pop song mashup. I'm very excited to share it with you guys. So don't go away. This is the Jams and Cocktails podcast. Enjoy this. We'll be right back.
Representing the Sunshine District, welcome Main Street.
We love the songs from the good old days, but as times and music change, the music from the good old days can get a little strange. from now. And oh my, these will be the good old songs that are on the radio now. We remember when the old songs were the songs our fathers know. And oh, but now it seems the old songs were sung by Billy Joel. Can't wait to sing the good old songs 20 years from now. Those songs that are the hits today, our contest will allow somehow. Here's a glimpse of what's to come. Just remember when we're done that these will be the good old songs just 20 years from now. 20 years from now, we'll sing. Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love, that I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent. Bye, 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 bye. I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start a fight. I know this can't be right. Hey baby, come on. Love you endlessly when you were there for me. So now it's time to leave and make it alone. I know that I can take no more. It ain't no lie. I wanna see you out that door, baby. Bye, 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 baby, bye, 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 baby, bye, bye. Oh, so what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves, and I don't need you. And guess what? I'm having more fun. And now that we're done, I'm gonna show you tonight. I'm alright. I'm just fine. And you're a tool. So what? I'm still a rock star. I got my rock moves, and I don't need you tonight. 'Cause I got Uptown Funk, gonna give it to ya. Uptown Funk, gonna give it to Don't believe me.
Sing it, brother.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. It's okay, Tony.
Just watch. Just watch. That's barbershop right there. Man! Fellas, at emotional value, sevens?
Guys, that 7 was so dope.
Yeah, it was. It was most certainly the bomb, yo, dog. It's like barber shizzle. What do you think, Raj? What's happening?
You know these will be the good old songs 20 years from now. Songs that may seem weird today will be the cat's meow.
So let's enjoy
it while we can.
And remember where it all began, 'cause these will be the good old days. Just 20 years from poker face, my poker face, my poker face, my poker face. 20 years, and I got the moves like Jagger. I got the moves like Jagger. 20 years, and we'll still be all about the bass. No treble, we're all about the bass. No treble. 20 years from Hey Sexy Lady.
Whop 'em Gangnam Style! Gangnam Style!
Just 20 years from Thriller Night, and no one's gonna save you
From the beast about to strike! Hoo-hoo! Hey!
Oh, no.
No wonder why he always grabbed himself.
Listen, Tony, somebody already did that song last year. It's already been done.
That's right, we're like a year late.
We really are. You know what we're best at?
What? Tell me.
Just singing the basic barbershop. Classic barbershop.
Classic, all right.
Well, here we go. Bye. 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 And bye. We'll be singing the old songs. Bye.
That was so good. Oh my God. What did you guys think of that?
That was fun. Adorable. Yeah.
Right. So it brings me to this point. Barbershop is still around and a huge force to be reckoned with. This is a national and they have an international competition where barbershop quartets come and compete for glory and you know all the goods and that still exists. Like they just put that whole thing together, you know, and you have traditional barbershop, but then you have stuff like that and but they keep it in this traditional form, you know. As I mentioned earlier, like Pentatonics, you know, we all love them. They're incredible and the music that they create is on another planet. But when you have that what was the word? I want to say it right. Where's the word? I want to read it right. The homorhythmic texture that comes along with traditional barbershop, where they're saying the same thing, but they're moving their voices around in harmony to create what we perceive as barbershop music. It is really in a class of its own. What do you think? You agree?
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree? So fun. We have plenty of examples to play throughout the night. That is what we are featuring this evening for our musical breaks. But a point I want to make is right here on the Treasure Coast, we have an entire group of people that are doing barbershop, right? They are called the Mariners, the Treasure Coast Mariners, or the Mariners of Martin County and St. Lucie County. And I'm going to pull up right now their website here so I can read a little bit about what they got going on. Where is it here? So yeah, they restarted their chapter meetings in January, and every Tuesday night at the Little Prodigy School of the Arts in Stewart at 7 p.m. they get together and they sing and they do barbershops. Now they do have a barbershop quartet. Their main barbershop quartet, the four guys, they're called Bioluminescent, and they perform around town and they do their thing. But they also have larger choirs and things like that. But this is a community thing that's open for people to come and listen and people to come and participate. They have guest books that they give you, and you can sing along if you can sight read. Obviously, that goes a long way when you're joining a group off the cuff. But this exists right here on our Treasure Coast. If you're a singer out there and you have any interest whatsoever in doing this style of music by the end of this show, you got to reach out to the Mariners Barbershop Chorus of Martin and St. Lucie counties. I will put a link to this on there on the Forever video, so you'll be able to find it through us. And but like, go and check it out. It exists here. But furthermore, on a national level, the Barbershop Harmony Society, which was founded in 1938 as the Society for Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet Singing in America, Incorporated. It's the whole name. They even gave out the acronym, which is the SPEBSQSA.
Oh my God.
But it is now the Barbershop Harmony Society, BHS for short, and their mission is to preserve and extend the reach of a uniquely American close harmony musical art form whose roots in the African American improvisational and European harmony traditions, or whose roots lie. Did I say that? I think I said that. It's headquartered in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, Music City. Would you think of anything else? And it's been there since 2007, and it's a nonprofit organization, and they provide active programs and resources in music education, publishing, performance, and community outreach. So this is a whole thing that, I obviously knew that the genre existed, but I never imagined that it was such a big and important musical force that's currently happening today. You see a lot of the parodies, like Family Guy has parodied the Barbershop Quartet in many episodes, and they're all great. But this is really going on today. This is not a lost art form. Even down to Disney World, Main Street USA and Disney World, the Dapper Dans, who you might recognize as the body of me in the cover photo of this video. but they are out there, and they do barbershop in the street, and they have shows every single day, providing the weather is good. And it's so barbershop is a very cool thing. I even Derek was part of it, but in high school, like, we had 4 guys. It was me, Derek, my friend Troy, and my friend Eric, and we would get into these little choir practice rooms, and we would do barbershop music. We learned like 5 or 6 songs, and we would perform them in a barbershop setup, and it was so fun. And it's really satisfying to hear these voices do those types of things, as you just heard in the last song. So my point in all of this is, it is National Barbershop Music Day. Barbershop still exists and is prevalent and is here and available on the Treasure Coast. And with that being said, while we're in the spirit of barbershop, I think that we should play a themed round of Name That Tune. As if the outfit wasn't sign enough. Before we get started, I do want to send a shout out to some people tuning in. I'm going to send a shout out to Dustin. Dustin, not only thank you for tuning in tonight, but thanks for coming out to my show last night at Tipsy Tiki and hanging out with me, which it was. I had a great time. I talked a little bit about it on the morning show today, but Tipsy Tiki, great venue, name change coming soon. But it was a really great time, and everybody that was there that came out was awesome. Paul, thank you for tuning in. Hermit Toad, good to see you again. I feel like I haven't seen you tune in quite a while. Great to have you back. Thank you so much for tuning in with us this evening. Jordan Taylor tuning in tonight.
Whoa.
Imagine that. All right, you guys. Well, we invite and Bubby. That's right, over there on. So I recently, as in this afternoon, switched all my screens around, so I have a little bit more of a wraparound here to see what the hell I'm doing. So now all my chats are on the opposite side, and it goes a long way. It's all the way back here as where everything's happening. But Bubby, thank you so much for tuning in, my friend. With that being said, I invite all of our live viewers to play along with us in the chats and comments. We're looking for the song name and the band or artist that originally performed these songs. These are barbershop covers of wildly popular tunes. So are you guys ready to play? And I did something new that you guys are going to love. So you know how I usually pick like 5 seconds of obscure parts of the songs to throw you off?
Oh, you gave us the title because the artist is going to be so hard.
No,
in the song.
I didn't do that.
Oh.
But I did offer a completion, if you will. So after we guess, I'll give you the hook of the song. So because I feel like it's been an empty feeling every time you didn't get to hear the hook of the song. So for moving forward for Name That Tunes, you're going to get the clue, and then after we guess, you're going to get the payoff.
Are you going to sing it?
No, I'm not going to sing it. I'm not going to sing it. Maybe I'll sing along with it. I don't know.
Okay.
if I'm feeling froggy enough. Okay, guys, are you ready to play? All right.
Yes.
Good. That's great. First clue, and this is going to be a double whammy for me on you guys, but here we go. First clue coming at you. Name that tune. Barbershop Quartet.
Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell.
As I mentioned, we're looking for the name of the song and the artist, the original artist that performed it. Here it is one more time for you.
Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell.
I didn't think it was a tough clue. I thought it was pretty good. And Paul on the dot. I love it. I love it, dude. All right, you guys. What do you have here in the lounge? Jordan's still writing. I can't imagine what you're still writing. But it is Pitch Perfect. I'm going to give it to you. Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. That is correct. You've all been Rickrolled. You've all been Rickrolled.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run.
That was the payoff. Isn't that nice? Isn't it nice to get the hook?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run.
I think this is more for you.
Yeah.
All of this is for me. So don't get it twisted.
Surprise.
All right, next clue here on Name That Tune, Barbershop Edition.
So turn around and I'll pick up the slack. Sexy back, take it to the bridge.
Here it is one more time.
So turn around and I'll pick up the slack. Sexy back, take it to the bridge.
All right, they're feverishly writing down here in the lounge. Ellie erased her whole entire answer, and she's doing a new one now. What do you guys think out there in internet land?
Yes. Let us know.
All right, what do you guys have here in the lounge? It is Sexy Back by JT Timberlake. That is correct. Oh.
What was that?
That was a fun sound.
Star Wars?
Pew, pew. That is correct. Funny trivia for this was actually performed by Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon on Jimmy Fallon's show with the Ragtime Gals, which is
Sexy back. The mother lover's gonna have to.
yes, so fun, right? That was actually Justin Timberlake, believe it or not. I wouldn't lie
Very
to
good.
you. Yeah, fun, right? All right, you guys ready for the next clue? Oh.
Yes.
I got a message on my phone.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Next clue coming right at you.
Honey came in and she called me red honey, creamy with the girl next door. Next door.
Here, that clue is one more time.
Honey came in and she called me red honey, creamy with the girl next door. Next door.
Aha. we're
Took me a minute too.
we're getting him tossed up here in the lounge.
It could be important, your message.
It's not. It's not. I would believe me, if it was an important message coming through, I would stop everything. I would stop the whole stream.
Lies. Liza Minnelli.
Show must go on, right?
Liza Minnelli. Across the board.
All right, what do you guys have here in the lounge? It Wasn't Me by Shaggy, and that is correct. Let me give you the payoff.
It wasn't me. But she called me on the counter. It wasn't me. Saw me banging on the sofa. It wasn't.
The little birds in the background are so delightful.
In the video that I ripped this from, they're outside in a park. It's so satisfying to hear barbershop
It wasn't me.
But she called me on the counter.
It wasn't me.
Saw me banging on the sofa.
It wasn't.
So ridiculous. It just gets worse, you guys. All right. Are you ready for the next clue? Here we go.
Yes.
Coming at you.
Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru.
I'm going to give it to you one more time.
Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru.
Paul said if it was important, they would have called the hotline.
True. Very true.
And Paul got it there with the correct song name. We're looking for the original artist of this tune as well, though.
The original.
Paul didn't say it?
No, he just gave me the name of the song. What do you guys have here in the lounge? Oh, you're completely wrong, Ellie. And Jordan, you're almost right enough that I'm going to give it to you.
Come fly with me.
It is "Come Fly with Me."
Yeah,
It is.
Paul said Sinatra.
Did he? Oh, he did. I'm so sorry, Paul. You get a pew.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
I love it so much. All right, you guys, one more clue. Are you guys ready? Here we are. Last clue, name that tune, Barbershop Edition.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
I'm gonna die. It's so funny. Here it is one more time.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
So good.
That's going to be my new ringtone.
It really should. I want it to be mine too. You get sprung. So good. Oh, what do you guys have here in the lounge? Baby got back, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Yes, ladies. And,
Crushed it.
And the payoff.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
Can you play the first part again?
It's so ridiculous.
When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung.
Yes! Oh, you guys, that was I say that was my most favorite round of Name That Tune. I feel like we should do all of them like that. Like no more original recordings. They should all be like obscure covers.
Do you think you could find them?
It would be extra work, but I think I could. Maybe not barbershop, but like what if somebody did like there's a group out there called the Baseballs, and they do like 50s versions of pop songs. So, like, what if I did that, and, like, found these cover versions of these tunes? I don't know how many of them exist, but that could be fun.
Yeah, there's probably a decent amount.
You get sprung. Yay! Thank you guys for playing along out there. Oh, my goodness. Well, you guys, we're going to take another musical intermission here because I gotta actually wipe my eyes. I was laughing so hard I'm
Does
crying
your face
now.
hurt from smiling
It
so
does.
much?
I'm having a great day. This is the best day of my life. We're gonna take a musical intermission. We've got the Jordy Files coming up next. You are watching the JNC podcast. Stick around and enjoy this tune. We'll see you in a bit.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy, because I'm easy come, easy go, little high, little low, any way the wind to me, to Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away, thrown it all away. Mama, oh Mama, anyway the wind blows. Didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on and carry on, as if nothing really mattered. Bum 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 bum. Too late, my time has come. Send shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. Mama, anyway, I don't wanna die. I sometimes wish I'd never been born at all. Da 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 da. No 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 no. I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, 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 Figaro. Magnifico! Oh, I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare him his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go! Bismillah, we will not let you go. Let him go! Bismillah, we will not let you go. We'll not let you go. We'll not let you go. Oh, no, 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 no. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me. For me, for me, for me, for me. A devil, a devil, a devil. Near, 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 near. So you think you can stone me and spit in my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can you do this to me, baby? Just gotta get out, just gotta get right out of here. Near, 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 do 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 do. Anyone can see, nothing really matters. Nothing really matters to me. Do
to be fair, I wouldn't categorize that as traditional barbershop. I feel like that was more similar to modern, like pentatonic style, that a cappella rhythmic style of music. But they looked the part. They looked great. They looked better than me.
Yes, that's half the battle. Looking the part.
What are you gonna do, right? Well, you guys.
Don't you feel like it would be hard to pick out your team, or like to find a good mesh?
Yeah, but
like,
but that's the point. So you have groups, or you have these social groups like the Mariners here, Mariners of Martin County and St. Lucie County, where they all get together and you get to meet other vocalists of various ranges, and you pull together your people. It's networking.
Do you think there's more basses or more trebles? Trouble. Sorry.
I would say that there's probably more male baritones than there are male tenors or basses. I feel like you have more of a middle range vocal range for males than you would the higher end, or obviously the lower end. The lower end for the basses. But
got it.
But if you're going to find those people, you're going to find them at those meetings Tuesday nights with the Mariners. But
excellent.
Well, I guess at this rate, it's time to. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. Sorry about that. It's time to sink your teeth into Jordy's great big news cake. This is the Jordy Files.
Folders and inspired people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Jordy Files, everyone. Did we have a great week so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah, that's excellent. Well, I am Jordan Taylor, and it is my privilege to be here tonight with the Brocks, the Brad, and the Ellie.
Brock squared.
Brock squared. Not even just B squared. Brock
no,
squared.
Brock squared.
Wow. So tonight in the Jordy Files, stick around to hear about who is accused of what criminal acts now. Seems there's always something.
I got my cue this time.
Good job. I didn't even have to. Yeah.
I'm getting better.
Good job. You can stay. What's closing down locally? Maybe.
Oh. Sorry.
And who has taken their net worth from a negative to a positive? Oh, okay. Well, I was okay. But first, let's get warmed up with our birthdays on this day.
Oh, yeah.
We only have a couple today, July 13th.
But these were important ones.
Very important. Very old. Mm-hmm.
Oh, some of these are devastating, by the way.
Yes, everyone try not to cry because I'm not crying, you're crying. Turning 82 today, as mentioned by Brad earlier during the cocktail of the week, is Sir Patrick Stewart's birthday.
Yes.
He is 82. Wow.
82.
Yes. Along with him, legendary actor Harrison Ford turns the big 80 today.
How, right?
How is that possible? I don't know.
I feel like I just saw him at 50.
Yeah.
But what's incredible
Does he
is
still
when
look-
Harrison Ford was 50,
you were born.
I was shitting my pants. And that is hard to believe. That's hard to stomach.
So Harrison Ford is 80 and Patrick Stewart is 82.
That is correct.
That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't.
We got to check that
Yeah,
out.
we need to fact check here.
Where are the fact checkers? Come on, Zuckerberg.
This isn't possible.
Fact checked us.
Well, you may know Harrison Ford from these little films like the Star Wars franchise and Indiana Jones movies. Comedian, actor, producer, and physician Ken Jeong.
You got it, John.
Jong.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
J's are.
I don't know why
J's are not pronounced in Spanish, but they are pronounced in Asian languages.
I'm not sure why I Tourette's so hard and said it like 50 times, but I apologize, everyone. He's celebrating his 53rd birthday today. I thought it would sound different every time, but I was just saying the same thing.
It was
over
the
and
same thing over and over again. It was brilliant.
Yeah. Anyway, Ken Rose to prominence with his portrayal of Leslie Chow in the Hangover films.
Yeah, no, that's what you're reading.
Okay.
I mean, is that what's written on the paper? Or
Question mark?
I feel like it's like Ron Burgundy where you put question marks on the teleprompter.
I feel like earlier I read some. Never mind. Anyway.
Hey, girl, say what you feel.
Yeah, we're just
say it
out
from the
here
heart, however it
living
comes out.
Our best life. So, yay. R&B singer-songwriter Deborah Cox is turning 48 today. She's known for her 1998 pop crossover hit, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here.
Debbie Cox.
Yep. So those
She's turning 48 today.
Look how foxy she is in the background.
Yeah. She's holding it down back there.
Yeah.
Nice. Happy birthday.
So that's our birthdays. Now let's dive into the crime, shall we?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
These people are wild out here.
You sent me this story, and I decided, I made an executive decision to not post a picture of him.
Okay,
because
that's
I don't
good.
think any of these people should
It doesn't, but the people,
be glorified visually.
No, but the people should know.
But the people should know.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, that's good. So I've never watched Cheers, so I don't know. Cheer, not Cheers. Sorry.
When you sent me
different.
When you sent me the story, I read it as Cheers, like the television show from the 80s.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first
and
saw it.
I was like,
that show's our
And so like
older.
I Googled this person, and it came back as this young man.
Yeah, and then you
I
saw
was
he
like,
was 22.
Wait a minute. I was like, that's not Cheers. Cheer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I've heard of, never seen. But regardless, Jerry Harris is facing some strict rules once he is released from behind bars after the former Cheer star was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for his sex crimes in child pornography case. So yet another. I don't know what's going on with these people these days. Yeah. So
I don't see the appeal. Like, in all of you child sex addicts out there that are watching our show, please call in and tell us what the appeal is for little kids. Because, Jordan, cover your ears, but like, I love mature women. Like, I am a lover.
Well, thank you,
I am a
Brad.
lover of the grown female form. I enjoy women that are taller than me.
Which isn't hard to do.
Yeah.
Well,
You said it.
but no, like, I don't know, and maybe it's like a paternal thing within me, but like, children are like, I feel like they're little puppies, and you have to protect them. If that makes any sense.
That's
like,
how most normal people feel
That's
about
how you children.
children.
Hey,
Good job.
Like, and don't get it twisted. Like, and I hope I'm not offending anybody when I say, like, I don't view children as people. They are children to me.
Yeah.
They are not. First of all, they should never tell me what to do. And second of all, like, I know what's best for these people. Oh, I said people. They're
You
not
said
people.
people.
They're children. And like,
Almost
so
humans.
It's instinctive protective mode. So these people that are like, exploiting them in a sexual way is just literally outrageous. I can't even fathom. And the fact that it happens so often.
Yeah. And more.
Like, we read these stories so often in the Jordy Files.
At least every week, for sure.
That's cracked out.
But I did find it interesting. So they gave him his, sentence or terms or whatnot. And I just thought it was interesting. I don't know if it's just for him because he's like a celebrity or how they dictate this, but I thought it was just interesting what they're doing for him, kind of. So I guess let me go on and then we'll resurface here. So it says Harris, 22, he must register as a sex offender upon completion of his prison sentence as he begins 8 years of court supervised release. He will be required to participate in a sex offender treatment program, which could include psychological and physiological testing. He will also have to go through a mental health program and take any medications prescribed by the treatment provider. In addition to these terms, he is forbidden from coming into contact with the minors involved in his case and cannot possess a firearm.
Or
So-
any minors or any humans
Ever.
whatsoever,
Just keep
ever
him
for the rest of his
locked
life.
in a basement in
God.
North Dakota.
Just give him a lifetime subscription to Grubhub, and that's the end of it.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, do they? I mean, some of that sounds normal, but it's like the
That doesn't seem
mental
like a,
health program and like prescribing a medication. Do they do that for everyone? Like, I feel like that's kind
Well,
of extra, right? Like,
as long as he has to pay for the prescriptions and then goes back to the clinic if he doesn't. But yeah, he's got to serve 12 years in federal prison, which means he'll probably serve 10 or less. And then he has 8 years of supervised release, which means there's basically somebody coming to his house to check on him all the time, and not able to do certain things, as you outlined.
yeah.
But listen, prison was never meant to just lock people away into a dark dungeon. At least in this, the penal system in this country, it was meant to rehabilitate these people so that they can come back into society. They serve their time, they come back to society, and they function as, they learn their lesson, and they come back and they are productive people in society. That's the idea. Even for people with crimes as heinous as this, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't say that he actually like messed around with these kids, right? He just possessed child pornography, right?
I believe so.
Well,
I didn't deep
not to
dive
say
too
that that's
much into
I'm not
yeah.
undemonizing it, but hopefully he can be rehabilitated, and we'll see.
It's so bizarre because he's just a baby himself. We're getting
know.
into deep topics tonight to get ready for the Bible session.
Yeah,
I
no
think.
kidding. I mean, I
Gotta
think
warm the fans up here. So next article I found interesting and wanted to share with the people was that we spoke last week a lot heavily on the abortion.
we did, yeah.
Situations at hand. So this article is saying that abortion bans force U.S. students to rethink college plans. Says obviously.
Before we get into this, I just want to let everybody know, because I need to get myself back into the habit of this, but we now have a call-in line.
Oh.
We call it the JNC hotline, and you can actually call us, and you'll go into a queue, and we can actually pull your call in, and you can talk to us on the air. So if you do have an opinion or any thoughts or things that we're missing in these stories, please, give us a shout at the JNC hotline, 772-888-1596. And you'll be prompted to give us your name and what you're calling about, and we'll get to you. We want this to be a discussion. I think it's important. And I wanted to jump in before you got into the story. So that, again, the JNC hotline is 772-888-1596. We're live, by the way. This is a live show. So for those of you that think it may be pre-recorded.
I mean, unless you're listening later.
Unless you're listening later,
Yeah.
and shame on you then.
Then it's not. Then don't try calling. You'll
Sorry.
be waiting in the queue for a very,
for
very,
a very
long
long
time.
time. You get a busy signal for days.
Till next Wednesday.
All right, sure. Carry on.
So yeah, just basically to touch on briefly, it just says that, which I found an interesting article, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in June to overturn the 1973 Roe v. Wade case that legalized abortion nationwide has some students rethinking their higher education plans as states rush to ban or curtail abortion, according to interviews with 20 students and college advisors across the country. While it has long been the case that some students hesitated to attend schools in places with different political leanings than their own, so that's always kind of been, a thing. But it says for some students, the restrictions raise fears that they won't be able to get an abortion if they need one, or that they will face discrimination for gender differences. So it's even branching into that. Others said they worried about facing racial prejudice or being politically ostracized. It is too soon to determine whether such concerns will affect admissions in a measurable way, and evidence from other recent divisive states' laws suggest there may be little impact overall on it. So I guess
I get it. First of all,
I thought it was just kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I find it disturbing.
I would go to college in my own state because you don't got to pay that out of state tuition.
Sure,
So
and a lot of people
we ain't
do make
trying
that
to
choice.
double the tuition here.
The biggest thing for me in that whole concept is that people are deciding where they want to go be educated based on politics. And you guys know me, and you guys know me out there. I hate politics. It's literally the bane of my existence. I think that it's ridiculous. I think that anybody that drinks the Kool-Aid on whatever side of the fucking octagon that we have out there, you're only limiting yourself by reducing the amount of influence that you get and things that you get from people that you might not align with in thinking, but to immediately compartmentalize them as a liberal or a conservative or a green tea party. Green tea. Right? Green tea shots. Maybe on the break. But when you start alienating these people and alienating where you're going to go and get your education from strictly on a political basis, it's one thing to say that you are for or against abortion rights. That's not a political thing. We talked about this last week. In my opinion, that's a social issue that needs to be taken care of in a social setting, not by legislation, not by politics. Only a fool would think that politicians aren't playing on these very, very intense feelings for their own political gain. And that's straight up. And like I said last week, that's not a blanket statement, but that is generally what's going on. Politicians are trash overall. You'll never see me running for office. Mark my words. Slap it in my face if I ever decide to run for anything. But you'll never see me do it. I will talk about it. I will give my opinions. I will support politicians that align with my values and and what I expect from a representative, but you'll never catch me doing it because, you're a certain type of dirty to get into that mix. Yeah. And even if you go in clean, you're going to get filthy getting in there. So good luck to you. I love you anyway. But to politicize this topic is outrageous. And I feel bad for these college kids that are determining their education or saying I'm not going to the school that I wanted to go to because it's in a state that doesn't allow these things. And we talked about that last week. The people there need to go and make the change that they want to see in their state. And that's important.
Yeah, I feel like it's really extreme to do. Like to have that decision like that.
But you know what? I also think that's awesome that people are choosing to do that. They're like, I don't want to go to school in the state because of these reasons. I think that's great.
Listen,
that they're aware enough to be like, I'm going to sacrifice this because I don't believe in this.
If you're gonna do
there's
it,
hope.
Yeah.
If you're going to
but
do it,
what if the school that is literally the best for what you're trying to do is in that state? It's like, so you're just going to go to like a mediocre second runner-up school if you got accepted.
It's going to change things. It's going to change things.
Any way you look at it, if a student is deciding not to go and go to a school because of this, that is a protest.
Oh yeah.
There's no other definition for what that is. At any time you say I don't want to do something because of this is a protest.
That's one of our America perks, right?
You're absolutely.
America perk,
it is America perk. But it's true. And if that's what these students feel that they need to do in order to get their message across, then more power to you.
Yeah.
What my concern on the other side of that coin is that they are not getting the education that they wanted because they're protesting. So I guess in the grand scheme of all of this, my point is you're going to have a generation of people all over again fighting for rights and sacrificing their own immediate futures for something that should have been shelved ages ago, and in fact was shelved years ago, and should probably have never been revisited as far as I'm concerned. But
this is where we're at now, though.
With that being said, I'm a states' rights.
I mean, a lot of them should just...
I'm pro states' rights. I think that states should have more control over the decisions made in our territories. But in this case, this was something that was settled and decided ages ago and probably should have been left as such. So it's all a political move. All of it.
And now we're jeopardizing
A
young
future
kids wanting
generation's
to go
education.
to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's all bullshit.
Unbelievable. Carry on, Jordan. I'm
yeah.
so sorry. I didn't want to hijack that.
No, that's okay.
But it's an important conversation
Yeah.
to have, and it's important to be objective about it.
And I think it's misdirected again too. I feel like they're missing the point again. It's like you should boycott just going to college in general unless you're going to be like a lawyer, a doctor, a plastic surgeon, like to go
plastic surgeon.
You know, maybe go to school for those things. But like overall, half of these universities need to be shut the fuck down. Talk about the biggest scam ever.
Well, yeah, that's a whole other topic for a whole other day when it comes
most
to
expensive
institutional
piece of paper
education.
I never use.
But yeah,
Period.
anybody has something to say about it, it's you for sure. Going
Literally
to
an
university.
extension of high school. Yeah.
It is it's.
I mean, it was a great experience. Don't get me wrong, but like I could have also just worked on cruise ships.
You could have. I might have met you
and
there.
not have had homework.
But yeah, it's an important conversation, and as we talked about last week, it should be talked about. People should be talking about it, and it shouldn't be this incredibly divisive, I hate you because you don't believe what I believe conversation. It should be engaging, and it should be productive, even if you're talking to a friend that doesn't fully understand your scope. If you're not seeking out a way to sell this idea to the people that you're talking to your friends, to your family, in a way that you're not ending a relationship or getting pissed off with each other, you're not doing it right. That's not, I guess in the worst possible way, be more of a politician. Sell this idea. Get be a Billy Mays, if you will.
And I take
you want that OxyClean.
I take some of it back. Like college isn't a complete scam, but the pricing for it is highway robbery.
Oh yeah.
Like you could put a substantial down payment on a very, very, very nice house for how much some people pay for education, and I think that is a crime.
It's true. Well,
but
yeah.
anyway, neither here nor there. That's for another day. We'll have another article later. I'm sure it's only going to get better. So
I'm sure.
The next article is a local one. Club Med Sandpiper Bay is an all-inclusive resort here in the Pizzle, aka Port St. Lucie, and it is closing.
Yes.
However, I saw some breaking news as of a few hours ago, so we'll get into that.
Oh, because I talked about this a little bit on the morning show.
I heard you this morning. Yeah, it is the only one in the U.S.
This is the only one in the United States, yeah.
Which I thought was like, when I first moved here and heard about it, a fancy club for like medical people to join or something, like a little cool hangout for.
It really has been the best kept secret here on the Treasure Coast. You know?
You would never ever think that was.
I had never been there until I went and played a show there, and I was like,
dope place ever.
Yeah, it's like a cruise ship on land. It was amazing.
Amazing. Every all inclusive resort ever. Beautiful. Awesome. So I guess just to, continue on here, it says the Riverfront Resort is expected to close its doors this fall because the property owner is selling the land, and it will terminate permanently the employment of all 226 employees roughly, and September 5th I guess is when they are expected to close their doors. But breaking news I saw only hours ago says that the new owners of Club Med property plan no closure, retaining employees in PSL was the title of the article. And it said the future owner of Club Med Resort said it expects a seamless transition in September with no break in operations. And I think they're keeping everyone on. So I think they're sprucing it up. I heard that there's going to be some renovations, remodeling.
Which there needs to be, you guys.
It's a little dated.
100%.
Some of it's nice. Some of it's dated. And I think everyone's keeping their job from what I saw.
Wow.
Or they're, then smooth transition. So I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, we talked about this. Talked about this on the morning show a little bit. The company that's buying it has actually been doing business on the property for the boating schools and the aquatic schools and that they've been putting on there. So that parent company is the one buying the property. What amazes me is that it was put up for sale at all. Like Club Med is it's a worldwide organization. So I guess sales were down enough for them to want to get rid of the only place unless they haven't, they have plans to open up another one in the country somewhere. But that is great news, actually, that those people are still going to be able to go and work, and the resort will persist.
And hopefully it's for the best. Hopefully it comes back bigger, better, badder, more affordable than ever. We'll see.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've always joked about having plans to go and have like a day there, because they had day passes and things like that to go, and it's like a getaway, all inclusive getaway for a day, and it seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But,
so the
I guess
dream
we'll
might
find
live
out.
on.
It might live on.
And we'll see what happens in September.
How about that? Sail on, Club Med.
Yeah. So that was pretty positive. Next article, pretty interesting. It reads, 2 pig heart transplants succeeded in brain dead recipients. Piggy hearts. Surgeons at NYU, of course, have successfully transplanted genetically engineered pig hearts into 2 brain dead people. So researchers said yesterday morning, moving a step closer to a long-term goal of using pig parts to address the shortage of human organs for transplant. So it says, the hearts functioned normally with no signs of rejection during the 3-day experiments in June and July. They said at a news conference, the pigs had 4 genetic.
Don't skip over this part, because I think this is the most important part of the article. Because didn't we talk about this on a show before? This part says the experiments followed the death of a 57-year-old man with terminal heart disease. And he made history 2 months earlier at the University of Maryland as the first person to receive a genetically modified pig heart. And
so weird. How would you feel about having a pig heart?
Yeah.
Cool,
well, the truth is,
right?
Unfortunately, it failed because the rejection rate of transplants from Jump Street is super high, even from other people, because your body wants it gone. The immune system is designed to get rid of foreign objects. That's what it's there for. So when you put in, even like other human parts, you have to take medicine for the rest of your life to suppress your immune system from attacking this foreign body that's keeping you alive. In this case, this is, they had discovered most of the genetic elements that make the human body reject pig parts, and they installed it on this man, and he lived for I think it was like 47, or I'm sorry, it might have been a little longer. I think it was a little over 2 months that he survived with this pig heart beating in his chest, and unfortunately it did fail, and he passed away. But yeah, this experiment that they did at NYU. They took 2 brain dead patients that were being supported on life support. So they were still alive physically, but their brain was no longer showing activity. And they transplanted the hearts on these people with the permission of the families. And they worked. So they're still working on this technology. And I think that's huge, especially in, perhaps organs that aren't so life-threatening if they fail, like kidneys and things, livers and things like that, you have a little bit of time to find out an alternate. When the heart stops, it's night forever. There's no coming back from that.
True.
Carry on. I'm sorry, Jordan.
Oh, that's okay, Brad. Thank you for chiming in. So I mean, that's really it. So we'll see what comes to be from that. But
Kevin wants to know
science.
if experiment is a flavor. Experiment.
Mint.
Ah.
Good one.
Thanks, Kevin.
Good one, Kevin. Chuckle. Next article, going back to, negative celebrity news, I guess. Trey Songz, who I thought we all, knew and loved, but he is wrapped up in a $20 million rape lawsuit, but it was dropped in court. It says a woman accused Trey Songz of assault has asked for her lawsuit against the rapper to be dropped. Weird. I don't know.
Didn't he shoot the one Megan Thee Stallion?
Oh, did he?
Is that the same guy?
Maybe.
I want to say it is.
Okay.
That might be
doesn't have a good
something
rap
to look
sheet.
up.
I feel like he shot her.
That sounds about right. Yeah, so it says in court documents seen by Rolling Stone, the woman reportedly asked a judge in late June for the case to be dismissed without prejudice. Back in February, the woman claimed the musician raped her at a party in March of 2016. And since the alleged attack, she'd suffered from fear, anxiety, humiliation, depression, and other physical and emotional injuries and damages. It says on July 6th, so just the other week, the judge overseeing the case granted the request and dismissed the $20 million lawsuit. No further details were given regarding the dropping of the case. However, this isn't the first time Songs has been on the hot seat in regards to accusations like this. Back in April, Songs was hit with a $5 million settlement demand after another woman came forward and accused him of sexual assault. There was apparently a video obtained by TMZ that showed him approaching a woman and then pulling her bikini top, exposing her hoo-ha. Code for tata.
No, hoo-ha is like the nether regions, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, tata.
Tata.
Okay.
Tatas. Just one breast.
Just one, yeah.
Yes.
In 2018, he was charged over a domestic violence case. So Songs also publicly responded to 2 separate allegations via Twitter in mid-2020, so just a couple years ago, and faced further accusations in early 2022. So he is having a rough time.
I don't think he's been relevant since like 2010.
He
right?
was also not the one that shot her.
Oh.
That was Tory Lanez.
Oh, yes.
Very similar.
Oh.
Yep, totally.
Tory Lanez, Trey
T,
Songs,
yeah.
like they both end in Z, start with D.
Yep.
Yikes.
Same beginning, same end.
Yeah, whatever. And they both sound like some scumbags. So.
Yeah, more and more common. More and more common. So last but not least, another really interesting article I found with a person who hasn't been relevant in some time, but is, I guess. After losing $14 million to the IRS, Chris Tucker finally has a positive net worth. Can we get an amen up in here? Yeah, there we go. It says that Chris Tucker has been entertaining audiences for over 2 decades. He first came onto the scene in the 90s, doing various stand-up performances on the HBO comedy series Def Comedy Jam, and he later starred in the uber-successful Rush Hour films alongside martial artist and stuntman Jackie Chan. What happened to Jackie Chan?
Still around.
Okay. But at the height of his popularity, Tucker's net worth plummeted. How was that possible? It says, according to Celebrity Net Worth, Tucker began owing the IRS taxes from the beginning of 2011. It was estimated that Tucker owed $11 million for the 2001, 2, 4, and 5 tax years. And by the time 2014 rolled around, that number grew to a massive $14 million. Not great with money. Ultimately, he settled the debt in 2014. However, a series of bad real estate deals did not help his situation. And also in 2014, he reportedly claimed that he didn't make enough money to pay his bills. So during that year, Tucker settled a $2.5 million tax debt with Uncle Sam. But in November of 2021, it was reported that the IRS was suing Tucker for $9.6 million in back taxes. What a predicament. But Chris Tucker's career is said to be on the up all. So he has 2 big projects in the pipeline, an untitled Matt Damon and Ben Affleck project, and rumors of a Rush Hour 4. Don't know where Rush Hour 3 came from, but that's fine. Nowadays, Tucker is back in the green with a net worth of $5 million hairs.
Okay,
Nice.
we'll give him a...
Yeah, he's got
Yo,
about
man, I love Chris Tucker.
Yeah, what a shame.
And
Don't trust him with your money.
what's so
Don't invest with
fascinating is like, you know, like as a business owner myself or being self-employed, like I fret about owing like $1,000 in taxes at the end of the year after everything. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to cut that check. And then they were suing him for $9.5 million.
I feel like he
God,
needed a
where
person.
does it end?
He needed a money
the,
person.
The government's out there talking about taxing the wealthy corporations, and this dude's just trying to pay his mortgage on his house, and he can't get a fucking leg up. It's unbelievable. It's such a fucking farce out there. As far as taxes is a farce.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And then it was crazy because it said from 2001 to like 2005, roughly the years, but then all the way to 2014. So was he paying some year? I don't know. It's very confusing. I guess he paid some. Maybe he didn't have any because he was off the map.
Follow his career. Yeah.
Yeah,
when is he doing stuff?
I don't know.
I'm glad that he's back in his right. Paul said he was best in The Fifth Element, and I agree. I thought he was great. But I loved the Rush Hour films. I thought they were really good as well.
You know what's so funny? Last night I actually went to trivia, coincidentally not on purpose, just eating there, and trivia happened to be happening. And Chris Tucker was the answer. And it's so funny that article came up because it kind of touched on, it said who was the actor or actress that was in Silver Linings Playbook, Friday, and The Fifth Element. And yeah.
And it was Chris Tucker.
Yeah, and then it's funny. And then I just hear The Fifth Element all day long, and in the article they talked about Friday too, and all of that. So I don't know.
Damn.
Weird parallels. Funny world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's what's happening this week. So thanks again to my colleagues Brad and Ellie, and for coming along on this journey with me. I'm Jordan Taylor signing off. Catch you next time on the Jordy Files.
Jordan. This is awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry it was, kind of morbid and weird.
That's okay. Hey, man.
That's me,
Yeah, you're weird and morbid. It's great.
Mainly weird.
Well, you guys, we're going to give you another barbershop tune. When we come back, we've got Ellie's Bad Bitch Bible Study and our shameless plugs. So don't go away. This is actually a fun one. This is a tune called Demented Old MacDonald. So
that should be interesting.
Yeah, enjoy it on our barbershop edition of the JNC podcast. Don't go away.
Lunch break's glad to sing today, but things don't always go our way. We really thought this year we'd make the 10. We've been working day and night, our second set was really tight. The problem is our Wednesday night set sucked.
Am I right?
Oh, well, there's always next year. Never fear, never fear. One day lunch break will finally make the 10.
Hopefully we'll make the 10.
Until that day comes, just take a nap, because tonight the only thing you'll hear is crafty attempts at entertainment. So we thought we'd sing this stupid song again, with new animals just like us. Did not make the 10. Again.
Oh, forgot that one.
Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a hearing-impaired parrot, E-I-E-I-O. With a what here and a what there. Here a what, there, what, Polly want a what? Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a kleptomaniac seagull, E-I-E-I-O. With a mine here and a mine there. Here a mine, there a mine. Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. Oh, this farm
farm, save the day, pave the way. Shout hooray! Now animals like us can be loved too.
Animals can be
Our
loved
friends
too.
from the zoo.
Don't
be alarmed, you can go to Old MacDonald's special farm. Oh, Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a lactose-intolerant cow, E-I-E-I-O. With a moo-moo here and a moo-moo there, here a moo there. Ooh.
We.
Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a hyperactive sloth, E-I-E-I-O. With a here and a there, here a there a everywhere a Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O.
Oh, well,
You know what they say,
we're all the same.
In some way, variety makes living life so grand.
Living life is oh so
All creatures
grand.
great and small.
We
love them all at Old MacDonald's farm. We all can have a ball. Oh, Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a bunion-infested centipede, E-I-E-I-O. With an ow, 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 here and an ow, 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 there, here and ow, 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 there and ow, 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 everywhere and ow, 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 Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on this farm he had a terrified squirrel, E-I-E-I-O. With a squeak, squeak here and a squeak, squeak there, here, squeak there. Dog! No!
Hey, I wonder what it sounds like if 8,000 people yelled squirrel at the same time.
Old MacDonald had a deformed farm, E-I-E-I.
I just won my
So good. Lunch Break is the name of that group, as we've come to know.
Love it.
Yeah.
I want them to sing holiday songs exclusively.
I'm sure that there's
Barbershop only ever again.
Listen, you guys, like this is all available on Spotify, and I talk about this at length a lot of the times. You know, when people say, "Oh, like music's dead," or "rock and roll's dead," or like this is, you know, like the radio only plays this. The radio's dead. Go and find the music that you want to hear into the streaming services. While I don't agree with their ethics in terms of paying their artists, but it's all available there. any genre of music that you love and miss, there are bands doing it, including barbershop. It's there. You can go and find these groups singing these songs, singing all your holiday favorites. It's out there. These groups that you've heard tonight here on the show all have albums and records out. It's quite a cool thing. And I will say, before we jump into Ellys' segment here, I'm just going to mention again, on the Treasure Coast, it's the Mariners of St. Lucie and our Martin County and St. Lucie County. If you're interested in barbershopping, they're the direct link to barbershop here on the coast. And of course, the big deal nationally is the Barbershop Harmony Society, and I will put those forever links up in the description of this video in the future for you guys to check out and support barbershop music. But I think it's time to dive straight in to our discussion tonight in Ellys' Bad Bitch Bible Study. Here we go.
Yes, welcome, bitches. I am Ellie Brock, and this is Bible Study. I'm here with Brad Brock and Jay Tay.
Hello.
Oh, Jay Tay.
I hope Jay Tay comes out in this discussion, because I know you have...
What's happening?
Get it together.
Got it. I got it together.
Yeah, I hope Jay Tay comes out in this conversation, because I
J-Tay.
know we've had conversations about this before. We're very passionate about it. So basically, I feel like we've all experienced this, and it might just because we're getting older. I don't ever want to think it's because we're getting older, because I don't want to get older, but I find myself becoming that like old person sitting on your lawn, like yelling at people. But I truly believe that there is a difference in like growing up, how we were when we had our first jobs, and our kind of work ethic, and what we were led to believe what a hard day's work was, to now what a hard day's work is to other people that are having their first jobs at 16, 17, 18, things like that.
And what's important to remember here is that the three of us here sitting in this room, we're all millennials.
Yes.
So we're not, like
we were the problem ones,
yeah,
you know.
we're all millennials here, and now like millennials are older.
Yeah. And like I disagree with like the old statement of like you should work hard until you die and just put your head down and do your job until like until you retire at 70 whatever years old. Like, no, I believe in kind of like a newer work ethic where it's like I'm not going to stay at a job where I'm not appreciated and not compensated, and I'm going to find another job. I'm not going to devote my life to a job that's not going to pay me well, that's not going to treat me well. And I think that's where it shifted a little bit in the work ethic for the better. But there's a difference between like our generation and this new generation entering the workforce, where it's more of like that participation trophy kind of mindset of like, well, I'm gonna do the bare minimum, and
I showed up.
I showed up.
Day. Yeah. Like, and it's like, well, then I expect to still get my paycheck and to have job security and things like that. Whereas we were like, I'm not going to get disrespected or mistreated, but I'm also going to show up and make sure that I, put effort in and work towards what I want and things like that. And I feel like the majority of younger kids are, one, not having to work because it's just facts that people are living at home much longer. People are really moving out. There's still people my age that are still living at home, so it's like this weird dynamic, especially with the way the economy is and how high prices are for literally just existing. So like it's a smart move to continue living with your parents or have roommates and things like that. But I feel like just the effort that's being put in and how they view their job has changed to when we were entering the workforce, and you know the importance of making your money and finding a job that you want to continue and move up in. So I'll start, I guess, just with like my experiences, because I am a manager in a restaurant, which is like almost one of the most awful jobs you could possibly have.
I was gonna say you just are a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
Right?
But you know, like contrary to popular belief, it's a very rewarding job, especially when you are able to have people that show up and respect you and run a good store, and you have happy customers, good food, and it's just overall like a great day when you go into work. You know, every cook and restaurant manager and server has had those days where you're like, I'm gonna quit my job right now, I'm walking out. And then you have those days where you're just like, fuck yeah, that was a good night, you know? But as a manager, you know, it's difficult because you have your rock stars, you have your people that you don't have to worry about, but you got to keep them happy so they don't leave, so they don't find that better opportunity. And then you have your other people that are just working part-time and don't really care and call out all the time and don't want to give any effort at all, and they make the same amount of money. So it's like, how do you balance that as a manager? And like, I'm seeing more and more, even just in interviews, where people are coming in and have no idea how to conduct themselves in an interview. And like that's the starting point. You have to be able to come in and get through an interview and kind of sell yourself. And people, the younger generation, has no idea how to do that. I know when I was in high school, we had like courses or like at least little things where they would sit down and you would do mock interviews with each other, and they would prepare you to go out into the working world and how to, you know, answer these questions in interviews and how to do certain things in real life. And I don't think that they're really showing that to these kids anymore. When I have a 16-year-old that comes in 15 minutes late for their interview, sits down with headphones in, and is just like who's to me, I'm like, oh my God, like how can you even think that you could get a job doing this?
Well, it's funny, but here in Florida, the governor has signed into law like these new education initiatives where it does teach these types of skills to high school kids now. And I think that's important. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it sticks. But I think the effort is good because oftentimes you hear people saying, you know, why don't they teach kids how to sign a check? And, you know, and like, I get it. Checks are antiquated, but guess what? I'm not that old, guys. You know, but I own a business, and you wouldn't believe how many checks that I have to deal with.
I have to write a check
basis
to pay my rent. Like that's a real life thing. Like
you know, like it's
you
still
write
prevalent.
checks for rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and how do you know a signature to do your signature if you don't learn cursive anymore?
They don't teach cursive anymore.
So what do you just print your name on? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind
Or
of
the amount
scribble,
of legal
maybe just
documents
scribble.
I've gotten from high school kids that are, you know, because you have to sign legal documents to have a job for taxes and whatever. Like they just print their name. Which is fine. Like whatever.
Yeah,
that's your signature.
No.
But they don't teach people.
Make no mistake.
Yeah.
My signature or my autograph or whatever you want to call it these days, because I'm a rock star, you know, it's an autograph. It's not a signature. But like it is an abomination of print, and it's an abomination of cursive.
I feel like
It's
most people's
but
is.
like I feel like that it's supposed to be unique in that way that people
Yes.
can't copy it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be cursive. And in fact, somebody just printing their name is a signature because you know, it is distinguishable. The fact that these kids know how to write at all with any kind of writing utensil
Touche.
is really magnificent to me.
That's true.
Well, let me just I just want to put a little flavor on top of what you're talking about. The three of us, Jordan at the very tail end of this, but you and I,
baby.
you know, we were pre-America Online babies.
Yeah.
Right. So we had a relevant childhood before internet access.
Oh, I did too. We were poor. We didn't have that so much later. I mean, we had like the free CDs or something that you would get in the mail.
Okay, so you were there. You were there. You were with us. Okay, so
you
that's
had to plug
important.
your phone line in. It was a whole to do.
It's important. So like
kids don't have to work for anything.
I feel like that's important because we only knew. And Jen, you're out there tuning in, so I see you out there. This is to your point. You know, we were at the whim of how we were raised by our parents and by how we were taught at school. You know, those ethics were instilled in us from these people exclusively. We didn't get to see people working from home online. We didn't get to see, you know, these champion stories of people, you know, TikToking their way to financial freedom. We didn't have any of that. That didn't exist. YouTube was the person that invented it wasn't born yet. These are things that did not exist yet. So at that point, it was still go work hard, give it your all, and you'll reap the rewards, both financially and, you know, just feeling like you did a good job and you get promoted and you'll, you know, be better. And hey, guess what? That shit still exists.
Occasionally.
Listen.
Sometimes.
But to your point, Ellie, if you are working hard and you're not getting the accolades, not necessarily financially, but being moved up in stature at your job, then they're taking advantage of you and you move and you go to another job where you have a clear ladder to success. And I think people are missing that connect because they were born in 2000. You know, this was a year where they said, turn your computers off at midnight so that the world doesn't end.
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And but it was all there. The internet was happening. It was a real thing. And from then on, it's been an onslaught of, you know, work from home, do less for more. And this attitude, in my opinion, has perpetuated. Here we are now, 20 years plus past that, you know?
So what I see as someone who started at the very bottom and kind of worked their way up to where I'm at now, which is not at the top of the ladder, but I do well for myself. And, you know, I know there's better things coming on the horizon because I work the way I do. But what I see in younger kids, and it's not all of them, I have some great employees that are 16, 17 years old that blow my mind every day for some of the things they do. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like, you work harder than most adults I know. So it's not a blanket statement. It's not every younger generation person is like this, but the majority that I've encountered are, where they'll come in and don't want to work hard, don't want to retain the information they need to do well at their job. And they're like, well, I can go somewhere else and make $1 more an hour. It's like, that's a lateral move. You're not moving anywhere. And I feel like that's a part of the educational system and how they're being raised as, you know, from their parents. Is like, sure, you can jump from job to job and take $1 more an hour and just keep bouncing around that way, but you're not going to get any experience. You're not going to get anything that's going to mean anything on your resume when you're finally going for that job that you do want. And you're not like allowing yourself to get the most out of what you're wanting to offer. Like, you're just jumping to whoever's bidding the highest, and that's not ultimately going to lead you to satisfaction in your life.
It. You know, and I'm gonna pickleback on that. We don't say piggyback here. We say pickleback here on JNC. I'm gonna pickleback on that. We'll do that too. We got, what do we have? Green teas and picklebacks. That's on the docket. So I feel like there's such a stress on income these days, and for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But like, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm gonna say this out to Jen and Dave, who are both listening. watching the show. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Dave said Brad never had video games. That's a borderline lie, because we had Diablo and we had Age of Empires. We did our share, but console games, I never sat in front of a console and played video games growing up. Neither did you, Ellie.
Yeah.
Like we never did that growing up. And but my point in it was never about how much money you make. And this is personal. For me, it was never how much money I made. It was what I was gaining in experience. What was I gaining in my thought process, and what was I able to put on my resume, to your point, after I was done with that job. I didn't care what my number was when I entered and left. It was never about making as much money as I could, like at the entry level position. It was always about not leaving the job not at entry level. Right. So you enter a company or wherever you choose to work, and you do the entry level shit, and then you get to the next level, and then you make the decision. Well, now I'm going to leave because the pay is peanuts. I knew this going in. I was fully aware. And now that I made it to the next level, I'm a assistant manager. Now I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to find another place to pay me more as an assistant manager. And then you build, but don't get it twisted. I understand that in the current situation, and this is not just this year, this has been going on for a very long time, that wages were not equaling how much it costs to live. So to play this game, which it essentially is, to go and do your job and get your piddly money, never about the money, but just to get to the next level so that you can move on. It's a tough sell when you have kids, or you've been laid off from a job that you were at for a long time and now you're back at the bottom. These are things that create a problem, in that I'm going to do this job. I'm going to kill it. I don't care what they pay me. I just want to get to the next level so I can write it on my resume and move on. But in the message that you're trying to send out, these are kids that are entering the workforce for the first time, and they have no idea what that struggle is, what that work ethic is, what that initial drive is. I'm not going to work at Five Guys or work at Tijuana Flats because I'm expecting some marvelous paycheck. Like, I want to go and be a manager of that store. Like, and this is how I've always looked at it. And in several interviews, I haven't done an interview in a very long time for a job, but any interview I went to, when they asked me what I wanted out of this, I looked at them dead in the face and I was like, I want your job. I'm coming for you, pal. And you get hired. Why? Because they don't want to be there. They don't want to be hiring you. In many cases, they're replacing themselves with you. And I learned that later on when I was hiring for my replacements, and like, that was what I wanted to hear people say. I want your job, and be like, well, congratulations, because you got it. You know what I mean?
And that's, it's one thing, because as a manager, my duty to my crew is to always continue to develop and, try to get them to the next stage. That's always my plan. And how I coach and train my people to try to inspire them, I was like, you can come in here and fucking kill it. And guess what? In 2 months, I'll push you up to a shift leader, or like, I'll at least train you. And now you have all these skills you can put on your resume. Like, I do know how to do this, whether you have that position or not. So now you take that information that you've gained, you go to the next job, and you're like, okay, I know all of this, which means maybe I was a server before, but I know the management aspect. So now I'm going to apply for this other job. So instead of getting another $1 or $2 an hour, now you get 10 grand more a year, and you are now on salary, and you have vacation and like things like that. But these kids don't understand that because they're not being exposed to this kind of mindset. They're seeing $15 an hour, $16 an hour, $20 an hour. It's like, guess what? You're working 15 hours a week at $20 an hour. You're making fucking nothing. And if you go in and you just do the job at bare minimum and you bitch about your job and your pay the entire time, you're not going to keep that job. But if you go in and you're like, I'm going to try and I'm going to try my hardest, because so many people aren't now in the workforce, like that is immediately recognized and you are given more opportunities. Like you're standing out more than anybody else. So I guess that's my point, is like to the younger people going into the workforce for the first time, where people that are struggling to like pay bills and like hold down a job, like you gotta go in and you gotta do your fucking best for that shitty ass job. I started working as like a drive-through person for Dunkin' Donuts. And that's what's led me to where I am now, where I live alone. I pay my rent. I have money after all of my bills. Like, I worked hard to get to where I'm at, but I started making $7.25 an hour for 25 hours a week to get to that point. But because I showed up and continuously did my best at the job, you know.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's a statement first, but then it's a question.
Okay.
As somebody who manages the majority of your managees, is that what you call them? Anyway, your employees. They're young people coming into the workforce for the very first time. So my advice is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if you're going in and you didn't have examples from your parents or from school or whatever, you're just going out to work because you know in your heart of hearts that's what you got to do because you need money, right? Ask questions. Engage your managers. Don't be afraid of them. Because I feel like that's a huge thing. You know, young kids come in and they're mortified to talk to their managers, but these are just people. These are human beings. You know, they live just like you. They're just a little older than you. You know, ask them questions. Ask them how you can improve. What can I do to get to the next level? What can I do to get a raise? If money is what's on your mind, what do I do to get a raise here? How can I be better to make more money because I'm helping my mom pay rent at our house? You know what I mean? Like, these are all really relevant things, especially in this day and age. You know, kids are working to help their parents pay the rent at the house they live at.
Yeah.
So
money
money
I
is
see
an
that
issue.
a lot.
But if they were taught to be on a level with their management team where they could ask legitimate questions, and this goes to managers too, because I've worked for managers that are fucking assholes.
Oh yeah.
And they have this power trip and they just belittle people, and that's not productive for anybody. So that needs to change from the top down, you know, where it is like your philosophy, and like the whole goal as a manager is to build these people up to take your place so that you can go and be a bigger manager or retire, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like, your whole point. It's funny. Managers should be like educators.
They should. They need to be teachers and leaders. And, you know, like, me personally as a manager, the biggest fulfillment of my job that I get is because I've worked in these fast casual restaurants where most of your crew is young high school kids. So, like, you become a teacher at a point. Like, you're not a boss. Like, so many of my employees have called me mom. Because it's just like, you know, like, that's kind of the role you take on. You become this influence in their life, and you want to be a good one. You want to teach them something, like when they leave you, which they inevitably will, because not everyone's going to move up in the company. In fact, maybe like 1 or 2% of those people are actually going to move up. The rest of them should learn something that's going to help them when they go to that next job. And I've dealt with managers that don't have that viewpoint, or just like, no, you show up, you do your job, and then that's it. Like, I'm not going to tell you you're doing a good job. I'm not going to tell you how to improve. Like, I'm just going to yell at you when you make a mistake.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
It's a massive problem. And I've had to deal with that, you know, as a manager learning with other managers. You know, it's just like, there's no like inspiration, there's no motivation to do better. So I'm always approaching my kids, I call them my kids, always as
'Cause your
just
mom.
like, yeah. And I sit down with them. I ask them all the time, like, do you enjoy working here? What would you change? I ask them questions because I know they're scared to ask questions and they're not going to speak up. But if you get them in a corner and you're like, what would you change? How would you do things differently? Because sometimes they have good ass ideas. It's just they've never been listened to.
What about you, Jordy? Do you have anything to add in your experience working with shit managers over the years?
We don't even have enough time here.
Well, give us one example
of what not to do.
Of what not to do, I suppose.
Well, to pickle back off of, I guess, what was just said.
It's my favorite thing we've ever
know.
coined. I
It's
love
so
it.
good. I just feel, especially when you're at a certain, I don't even know, age level places, it's less teamwork and more competition. You don't want it to be competition, but from the managers down, I feel like they look at it, they don't look at it as a training opportunity. They look at it as, you're coming for me, I must attack you. We're not working on the same goal.
I just
we're not going the same
I don't want to
direction.
interrupt you, but I'm gonna. That's a problem, which I was touching on. That's a problem from the trickle down.
Yeah, they're shitty management.
You have managers, for perfect instance, Ellie, that you were a manager at your last restaurant. We're not going to mention them because we don't want to promote them. But like you hit a ceiling at your position. Now there was other positions where you would get more money, but in terms of money, you hit a ceiling where you were in your position.
I made a lateral move. Actually, it was kind of like a step down as far as position, and I made
I'm just thinking
a lot more money.
I'm saying in the company they had a level that you could cap out at that particular position, right?
Yes.
There were no more raises. That's all they had to afford.
It was a cap.
Right. So to Jordan's point, you have companies where managers get to a point in your kind of situation where they were not going to promote you to the higher management. They were just going to float you along and feed you bullshit. And you were never going to make more money because you reached your cap. But now you have this young buck that's coming up and looking to take your job. So the next step for you is to either get promoted, which is not happening, or they're going to replace you and you're either going to get fired or you get demoted or moved away from the convenience of where you're
Most
at.
bad managers are threatened by hungry new employees.
So to Jordan's point, like that's a shit attitude to have as a manager. Like if you're a manager of someplace and your employees are gunning for your job, like I said earlier when I interviewed people, like if they said I'm gunning for your position, you're fucking hired.
Yeah, but some people find that intimidating and threatening, and some people like to have the thumb over instead of a helper. They want to have hands around your throat, kind of like just above water.
Not that's those people need to be fired.
But they're the ones that get promoted usually. That's a whole nother.
Go get fired because you want to grow people to take your position. That's the point. And you want those people to acknowledge that it was you that got them there. And like as far as I'm concerned, that's the growth pattern. That's how it should all go. Managers should train people to be them, and then they move on or move out or retire or whatever the case is, and then these people follow in their footsteps with their values and in the way that they run business, and that's how it goes. But Jordan, you make a very good point. These managers want to stomp on all these underlings so that they can remain the top dog or make themselves look better when mistakes happen. Managers should take complete responsibility for anything that happens, even if it was somebody else's fault. And you protect those people so that they want to work harder for you and learn from their mistakes. It's so simple, but like, I don't know, human ego is a fucking
so
bastard.
there's
a lot of
one
layers.
thing, And you know what? There's going to be good managers and bad managers no matter where you go. Like, unless you're working for yourself, and even for yourself, you could be a good manager or a bad manager. Like, you got to figure out how to manage yourself.
I don't think I'm a bad manager, but I think I'm an asshole boss. I'm a slave driver.
But one thing that I do agree with the younger generation is they no longer have that tolerance for the bad managers. And they will go somewhere. If they don't feel respected, they're fucking out, which is great. Because you should have that respect for yourself in a industry. Like, if you have a manager that you're working for that doesn't have your best interest in mind, you need to go and find another job.
Listen, man,
because you're not going to develop yourself in that environment.
I'm going to tell you what. There is a, contrary to whatever news outlet you're listening to these days, there is a plethora, a ginormous number of open jobs. So if you're a business owner hiring people, you better get creative with your incentives to keep your people, or you better just be the nicest motherfucker that ever lived, because.
Well, I was going to say, the sad thing is it really doesn't take much. Is
doesn't
the
take
sad
much.
thing. Like, to keep your employees happy really doesn't take much. Like,
it doesn't.
Well,
you
Paul,
show them respect.
That's the mind-blowing thing.
Paul brought up a
Like,
good point in the chats. He said, shit or get off the pot about a job that you don't like.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, right now, post-COVID, you know, like, there is a plethora of job openings. You can work. If you want to work, you can work. There's no, like, if you're not working and you say it's because there's no jobs available, that's outrageous. You can work anywhere. There's online jobs. There's jobs where you can go and serve tables where you basically make your own decision on how much money you want to make.
Shit, I think there's jobs where you can sleep
like,
and make money. Like sleep studies. You can sleep
Literally,
and get paid.
There's tons of opportunities to go and make money however you want to make it. But what I want to get back to is your point.
Oh, yeah, I
like,
had two factors on that.
Okay. Just because you can get a job anywhere
doesn't mean you don't have to try.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't give a certain amount of effort into the job that you get, regardless of the pay. Regardless of the pay, you could be making 8 cents an hour. If it's a job that you really want, that you believe in, you should give it some effort and really feel out what the opportunity gives you, you know? And if at the end of that road, it's not the monetary supplement that you need to survive, then you need to make that decision on your own accord. But stop giving jobs, you know, a fucking week of failure.
Yeah.
In your eyes,
showing up late and you know
and going, I can get a job anywhere. Everyone's looking for work.
Yes.
Well, but that's the thing today. Back to the whole topic of conversation here, like kids today, first time going in, first getting a job. I know when I did that, and they actually were like, "You're hired." I was like, "Oh my God, I did the damn thing." Like now, I think kids are entitled, the ego, like. They are entitled to a job. They're owed a job by the world. Like, who wouldn't hire me? I think it's a whole different mindset nowadays. Like, where I was like, thank you so much. This is great. I'm going to get paid. I don't have to ask my mom for $5 a week or steal money from her wallet. This is awesome. I get out of a house.
Sorry, Pearl, if you're listening.
Sorry. That money missing. Hayden. You know, I don't know, just a whole mindset. Like, I feel like they all... And again, yeah, not all of them, but a majority feels like it's owed to them or they're entitled to a job. Whereas when we were going into it, we were thankful to be given the opportunity or to do it, you know?
That's true.
And the two factors I feel, I mean, I always go back to, I always say the internet, technology, whatever, greatest accomplishment, biggest downfall. I think a combination of technology and then just the instant gratification / results. Like everyone wants instant, I'm going to work and flip burgers and make $22 an hour. I am owed that by the universe, by the world.
I don't even make $22 an hour.
Like I was born, I deserve this. I am better than this person because I am me. Which you should have that mentality.
So I guess,
but
yes, you know, like
there's a balance.
you have to value the work that you are giving. Like you have to have, I've had conversations with people. Like when I first started at the restaurant I was at, I had asked one of our great employees who had like one foot out the door. I was like, what can we do for you? Like, how can we compensate you to get you to stay? Like, what's your value? And she had no idea. She was like, I honestly don't know how to answer that. Like, this was my first job. And I was like, well, you're fucking killing it. What do you think you deserve? And they don't know how to answer that question. So their like perceived value of themselves is a little obscure, you know, because there's some people who like think their shit doesn't smell and can show up 15 minutes late every day and then are surprised when they lose their job because they've been late every day. And then you have the good workers who are just like, yeah, I make $12 an hour. It's like you're working at $17 an hour. Like that's the effort you're putting in, which is what you need to be making because that's how hard you work. And they don't understand that.
So what's the value system of effort? And maybe this I'm not asking.
No, that's a great question.
But like what is the value system of effort? Because I think minimum wage is a ridiculous thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not taking away from the idea that making a living wage is important. But you know, on the other side of that coin, which you know, a lot of people come up with is saying not every job is supposed to support a household, right? You know, there are jobs that were never if you're going to pay you know, like this amount of money, you know, and you expect to support a household on it, it should be automated. You know, there are you can't expect to raise a household on the income of some of these jobs without putting the job completely out of business, right? So what is the value of the effort?
Well, sadly, it depends on the people above you.
And
I mean, they dictate it all.
And who are you hiring to fill these spots? Because the spots need to be filled. The service needs to be provided. Socially, in our socially. Well, let me just finish because I think it's important. You know, so like you have this big argument about, oh, well, fast food restaurants. Those are kid jobs. Those are kid jobs. You know, that's to teach you how to work, and only kids should be doing those jobs. But guess what? Kids aren't only doing those jobs. Grown adults have been doing those jobs, and grown adults have been doing those jobs for years without being promoted to management positions or having the wherewithal to say, I'm going to take this experience and move it on. So where does the education stop for those people and the opportunity begin for other people, right? This is a huge problem because the education system in America has failed tremendously. It's a complete failure as far as I'm concerned in terms of teaching people how to be producing well-rounded human beings in society, able to literally come together as a government and work out differences and make decisions. No, all these motherfuckers, they're all products of shit education throughout the ages. They're all coming together and fighting because they think they know what's best. No, you don't. You have to grow into what's best with each other. So alienating each other because you come into a job entry level, you make a minimum wage, you get to a point, and a cocksucker manager doesn't want you to have their job, so they just keep pushing you down, and you stay at the same entry level position, getting your 10% raise or 6% raise in many
you
cases.
think it's that high?
I was being very.
That's the inflation, Brad,
okay.
not the raise.
So yeah, whatever raise you get, your 3%, 6% raise, flipping burgers at Burger King, while the manager never ever leaves and just will never let their job be somebody else's job. That is the beginning of the problem for everyone, because these people become politicians. These people become the people that represent us. And that jadedness and that hatred travels with them into office.
But what you said before is that, like, the beauty of where we're at right now is there's so many jobs available. So you have that opportunity where you're at to learn as much as you can and take that with you. Take that with you to the next job. Because then you're not making, if you say, for instance, which I was in this situation, when I moved up to a new position, I was not going to make what my worth was. And how I determined my worth was what I knew and what the average pay was for people who knew what I knew as a manager. And I was way below that. So I went out and I found a job that's going to compensate me for my knowledge and what I bring to the table. And you have to make those changes. And there's so many places that are looking for those people to fill that. So I guess to kind of bring this all together is that if you are a young person entering the workforce, there's always going to be a job that's going to pay you more an hour for whatever position you're at, because that's where everyone is at. They're like, part-time jobs mean absolutely fucking nothing. You have to start there, but it's up to you to whether you're going to make that a full-time job, or you're going to have to work another part-time job, or you're going to have to move to another part-time job. You're not going to move from a part-time job doing bare minimum, showing up late, not putting any effort in, not giving a fuck about the job. If you continue doing that at your part-time job, you're going to continue to work a part-time job, which is not going to sustain you. You have to take that part-time job and work your way up to that full-time job. And you have to learn something. If you don't learn anything at your job, you're not putting in that effort. Because there are people, whether it's another coworker, whether it's another manager, whether it's a customer, someone is going to teach you something at that job. But if you're not looking for that, if you're not looking to learn something, you're not going to, and you're going to miss it. And you're going to miss valuable information that's going to help you take that next step to make more money, to be more satisfied in what you're doing for your career.
100%. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
And don't just be a warm body and don't settle.
No, don't ever settle. If you're unhappy at your job, fucking leave. If you're putting in the effort, or even if you're not, if you're unhappy there, you're never going to be able to give your all. So if you're unhappy, leave. Find a job that you are happy at. But if you're miserable at every job you have, then that might be a problem with
I was going to
yourself.
say, you got to look inward at that point.
But you have to show up, you have to try, you have to give effort, because guess what? There are people that are watching for that, and there are people that are going to recognize that and are going to help you move your way up and to make more money and to be more self-sufficient and satisfied and put fucking money in your pocket. There's people that are looking for that and want to help you. So show up on time, give effort, learn, ask questions, and, treat your first job out in the world, or second or third or whatever, treat it as like a new opportunity, because it could be and it could not be. And once you realize that it's not that opportunity and you gave your all, then you leave. You find somewhere else, because there's plenty of other opportunities.
Well, Paul in the chats asked a question. They said, are we differentiating? Oh, what a weird word. Differentiating.
You still messed up.
I'm just going to move on. Between a high school kid and adult. And I think that the premise of all of this should be transcendent.
Yeah.
But even with high school kids, they need to go into a job, an entry-level job, knowing that this isn't forever. Mm-hmm. This is not forever. answering phones and selling penis pumps like I did when I was a kid. This isn't forever. I don't want to do this forever.
But they need to crush it.
But you need to crush it and make it almost like a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not about doing a job and maximizing my profit on this job. It's about doing this job, doing some research and finding what the top level person in this company is making. And I want that. What do I need to get that? And employers need to be putting that information out there. Employers need to be hiring people saying, this is the route.
Well, and just for yourself, wouldn't you feel fulfilled knowing that you gave it your all?
Not these days, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's more about how much money can I make so I can pay my bills.
Well, and I think the biggest thing is like with the internet and everything that's going on, the younger generation thrives on that instant gratification. And if they don't immediately see it, they get discouraged. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people and managers that aren't, showing them that instant gratification, like it may not be like, I can't give you this position, but you know what? I can teach you something new every day. I can show you something about yourself you didn't know before, like if you do a good job, sometimes people won't tell you. So
that's a perfect segue. Paul, he said, what got you pumped in the morning to go to that job, Brad? And I'm going to tell you, Paul, honestly, the majority of the jobs that I've had, I've always walked in the door. First of all, it was never about money for me. And I can honestly say that in most of my efforts, I never was concerned predominantly about what the pay was. Like Jordan said, I was just happy to get a job when I was younger. I was happy for somebody to say that I was good enough to work for their company. And then I wanted to literally blow them away with my skills. And so what got me up in the morning to go to the job was because I would go to sleep thinking about how I could be better tomorrow. And it's gone on a street. It sounds like rubbish.
No, I do that every day.
But I literally would
life.
go to sleep and be like, think about problems that I encountered at my job. And I would go to sleep and wake up in the morning with solutions. And I'd go there and I would kill it. I was fortunate enough to work at places that allowed me to speak my mind and give these alternatives to things and be a really productive member of teams and things like that. So like I wouldn't imagine that I'm part of the normal group. I was always very fortunate to be in a job situation where people respected my opinions and I was able to shine and show that I had great ideas. I know that's not common. So for me, it's a bad experience to offer because that's not the case in a lot of places. But those do exist. I was never told to like shut my mouth or I was stupid or I didn't know what I was talking about. I never had those things. And if I did, I bucked up against it because I knew I was right because, here we are. But it was never a question. If I knew I was right, I made sure that everyone knew I was right and
right.
It wasn't a problem. But I get that people aren't that assertive. People aren't naturally that assertive. And it's a struggle. But these are things that entry-level managers should be promoting. If you get into an executive world, you better be ready to get your ass handed to you because you are vying for jobs that are going to fire people and you're going to replace them. But entry-level, it's entry-level management's duty to prepare these entry-level candidates to want to do a good job, to take your job, to be better than you. It's the whole point, in my opinion, in my very humble barbershop opinion.
And you're right. As a manager, that is one thing that I've always done is made sure, because especially working in a restaurant, like if your crew is not happy, they're not going to be reliable. They're not going to be hardworking. They're not going to do what you ask them to do. So at the bare minimum, you have to make your people happy. And there's some people you're not going to be able to make happy because they are those types of people that are looking for the next $1 an hour and are going to jump from part-time job to part-time job because they haven't learned that yet. But if you can sit down and kind of explain it to them, like, hey, like, I know you can make $1.50 more an hour working for another company, but like, if you're still not applying yourself there, you're not going to make any more. Like, and it's part-time. You're not guaranteed a certain amount of hours. So like, you have to figure something out. And I guess that's my message to the young people again, is don't jump from part-time job to part-time job. Look for something that's going to give you experience that you can take to a full-time position, because that's part-time jobs are not going to pay your bills. They're not. They never are. They're not intended to. If you're working a part-time job to try to pay your bills, that's not going to happen. You have to work 2, sometimes 3 to get to that point. But if you fucking kill it at a part-time job that you don't mind, and now all of a sudden you're moving up to a position and now you have full-time salary with benefits and all of those things, now you're on the right track. Now you can pay your bills and have that spending money and take vacations and shit like that, which we all love doing. Like, that's where it's at. It's not that entry-level job. It's not that shitty-ass job that you're starting out. But if you fucking kill it in 2 or 3 months, you could have what you're actually looking for. So show up on time, fucking give some effort, and stop looking for a miracle, because it's not going to happen. You got to start somewhere and work your way up. You got to learn something on the way there.
100%. I agree.
Yep.
Jordan, anything else?
I mean, if you're going to be there, be there.
Right.
Am I right?
You might as well
Be
try.
Like, have you ever had, then you're just like, I would like to do anything besides sit here and it's
oh
like,
my God, every day.
Yeah, like
I'm
do
just like, I'd
nothing.
rather be in my bed, but you know what? I'm here
Yeah.
and I'm still going to put effort
Or, you know,
in.
when you're just have some downtime at work and you're like, I can't just sit here. What can I do? Like, I need to be make the best of my time so the time goes by.
Yeah.
Like, but no, these kids would like to sit and like fucking
just on their phone the entire time. And it's just like, what
TikToks.
What do you expect is going to happen? What good is going to come out of that when you're doing something to get money? Right? That's ultimately what a job is you go, you do a task and you get paid for it. So why are you not going to do it?
Yeah.
Like they're paying you. You're getting money. Yeah. Some of your bills are being paid because of you're here. Respect that a little bit enough to do what's being asked of you, because most jobs honestly don't ask a lot for an entry level job.
Yeah, or don't go.
Right.
Don't show up. Like I had the experience today. I was telling Brad, it happens every time. I won't dime the place out because I love them. But where it's just like, it's painful almost to just watch them. It's like, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. But like, if you're going to be here, be attentive and helpful. Like, do I need to come back and do this myself?
And it makes your job
God.
10 times harder when you show up and you just don't give a shit, because one, your manager is going to be on your ass. Your coworkers are going to talk shit about you. I know it happens. The good coworkers are going to talk shit about you. The customers aren't going to like you. You're going to have bad interactions all fucking day.
Yeah.
So why? Why not just show up and give your all or fucking quit?
Yeah.
Like, you have 2 options. Both are great. I prefer that you show up and, you know, and try, because you can learn something. You can take something with you. Or you can just give up and quit and go find another job where they may not give a shit that you're on your phone all day. But you know what? You're not going to learn anything from that job either, because they're not devoting any time or energy into you as a person. So
pretty boring too.
Yeah, just to the young kids, get up and try every fucking day.
Yeah. Don't be a warm body.
No.
Period.
Just do the job.
You're 100%. And I agree with Jordan. If you're going to be there, you might as well fucking give it give it 100%.
Or my God, do anything.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
And today, like, I've had this talk with Brad, I guess just to wrap it up. Like, and we've talked about it before on here, actually. I think at the beginning or middle of the pandemic times. When do we get to stop blaming everything on the pandemic, kind of?
Yeah.
Or making excuses? Like, we were all like, oh, you know, Dunkin' Donuts is allowed to be shit and close their lobby because they don't have employees, or they're allowed to fuck things up because, you know, one person's working the whole thing, or, you know, they're probably tired because they've been working for 45 million days straight, you know, whatever. It's like, and then at what point do they just become, you just don't care? Like, you suck at your job. Like, you just don't care and you're rude. And when do I get to be like, hold you accountable for doing your, you know what I mean? Where's the line there too? Because I'd really like to be a Karen occasionally.
To me, if someone is working a minimum wage job and they show up 10 minutes late and don't put any effort in, they don't deserve to have that job. That's my personal opinion. Because, like, you're blocking the space. Like, you are taking up space. You're taking money from someone that's going to come in on time and actually try. And you know what? Like, if you don't want the job, then you shouldn't have it. And that's, like, where we're at. Because there's so many jobs. There's so many people that need that money. So, like, don't come in and be a fucking space filler and not want to try. Like, just don't work at all. Because you obviously don't. You don't give a fuck. You just want to make money, but you don't want to put any effort in. So you shouldn't have a job. You should go try your luck on YouTube and TikTok. Because, and not to say that those people don't put any effort in, because you're fucking insane to think that, like, content creators aren't working a million fucking hours to try and do whatever they do to make that, you know, like, they're busting their ass. I mean,
shameless
the
plug.
ones that are successful, no offense, Brad.
Wow.
Damn.
But the ones that are making, you know, millions of dollars
You're
by
only at
being on
hundreds,
TikTok, like, they are creating content every day. They're busting their ass. They're allotting their time, and they're structured and disciplined. All those things that you have to be successful, they're putting that into action, you know? And these kids that don't show up on time and are on their phones all day and, like, don't do what they're asked, like, what are you trying to gain by doing that? You're not gaining anything. So just don't do that.
True.
And that concludes the Bible study. You know, if there's something you want to achieve, you need to get up every fucking day and work for it, no matter how little, no matter how shitty the circumstances are starting out, because everyone starts out struggling. You got to stick to it. You got to try. If it's not for you, that's fine. You can walk away. But if it's something you want to do, just stick to it, work hard, and be positive about it.
And as much as you want it handed to you, it's likely not going to be.
Nothing is ever handed
So-
to you. Ever. You got to work for some shit, you know?
100%. I get it. It's a good message. And I think we live in a weird time in terms of what people expect out of their efforts. And
I also just feel like, is this a weird, bold statement to make? But, and if I have to ask, do you feel like the generations now, like, so let's say our managers are what are they even called? Xers or whatever, maybe we'll say on average, now managing Gen Zers or what are they? I don't even know what
you're
what I mean?
skipping
Is this-
the entire millennial. It's millennials that are managing.
No, I mean like
millennials.
entry level people.
No.
No, like
It's-
the new age people. Millennials are old now.
First
We're
of all,
old news.
Gen X, it would be Steve the Bruce.
Yeah.
It was turning 50 this year.
So they're like a manager age.
No, they're not a manager age.
Oh, they're
Ellie
too old?
is
Yeah.
manager age. Ellie is the people managing
I don't know.
people.
All my managers have been old as shit.
But, like, how old, Jordan?
Like 45.
That's in
48.
my range.
How old do you think 45 is?
45, 48.
So I'm
54.
I'm
The one before that was
millennials are
Okay, either way, it doesn't even really matter. But right now, whatever category you want to put them in, the generational gap, like, information is not, it's more spread. It's more far apart as opposed to, like, a couple, the decades past.
I don't know.
Generationally, I feel like a baby boomer managing the whatever,
and
they were more
the truth
closely related.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to word
Maybe.
it. I feel like it's a very big disconnect between the generations.
As
now.
a manager, I experience this all the time because I come in and I'm hungry and I'm like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I bring a lot of confidence in what I do, and I get challenged by other managers all the time, mostly men.
I was gonna say that's a whole nother issue. I didn't want to even
the
get into,
women that challenge me are just like, it's definitely jealousy. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that, but because I come in and I act like a man, but I'm a 4-foot woman, it's a little bit of a challenge. But I get challenged by the older managers all the time because I come in and I'm like, I can take your job, and they know I can because I have these different outlooks and views that help these younger kids coming in, that the older manager, like you said, that generation, they don't have those skills.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that outlook. So there is a difference between younger managers coming up and the older managers that, got the job just because they kept their head down and they worked hard, but they have zero fucking people skills and don't know how to manage young children and inspire them. And that's the difference between a boss and a leader. So if you're going into a job and you just want to be a follower, you're always going to be a follower, and you're going to deal with those bullshit managers that don't give a fuck about you. And if you're going in with the mindset of like, I want to be a boss and I just want to tell people what to do, you might get that position, but you're going to be an asshole and no one's going to respect you. But if you're getting into this position where you're like, I want to be a team player, I want to be a leader, I want to learn as much as I can so I can teach other people, you're going to fucking run the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I agree. Like, if you're a manager, you should not be degrading people out of management. You should be lifting them up to be your replacement. Being a manager is not the end game.
No.
It should not be your forever shit.
And it shouldn't be the end game for the managers that are in there.
You should be training people to take your job and doing it viciously. Like finding that potential in people and saying, I need you to replace me. I do not want to be here forever. You have to step up to the plate. But I don't think like that's the case. And
no, everyone's afraid.
And maybe that's a story for another day. But thank you, Ellen. It was a wonderful discussion, and there's definitely value in working not just for money, but working because it's what's required to
work for knowledge.
To work forever, yeah.
Work for knowledge. Work for something you're going to take with you. Don't think about the money, because the money will come if you put in the effort. That's guaranteed. But work to learn something every single day.
True.
I think that's the vision that's been lost, is people work for the dollar and not for what they can learn.
Brilliant. That's the quote. Don't work for the dollar. Work for the experience.
Yeah. For sure.
Like the dollar will come.
For the holler. Work for the holler, not the dollar.
All right, you guys. We're going to try to wrap this fucking thing up with our shameless plug. All right, who wants to start?
You do, Brad.
I'll start.
Okay, Ellie.
After the crickets calm down.
Right? Yeah. Shush.
They're very loud.
Okay. Well, I'll start by promoting our Just In Queso Foundation, which is with Tijuana Flats, which is a great company that I work for. I enjoy it. I really do enjoy working where I am right now. And we have a great foundation. You can donate in store. You can donate online. You can even donate on Amazon while you're, shopping around. You can add it as one of your little contributions on there. It's called Just In Queso, which I think is very cute. Right now we're, raising funds to help the One Pulse Foundation, which I think is great. And we regularly help other foundations. It's a lot for the local community. It's a lot for our employees as well. So the money does go back to the people that are working for the company. It's just overall a really great foundation. So if you have any questions about it, you can reach out to me about it. And yeah.
Nice.
That's my only shameless plug.
Beautiful.
What about you, Jordy? Any shameless plugs this evening?
I actually do this week, Brad.
Brilliant.
I know. Hold your gasp. Thank you. Thank you for holding it. So, if you are in the spa, wellness, beauty industry and also salesy, we are hiring sales reps for supplements and topical products in pretty much any major city, state, location. We have a lot of sectors taken, but this is more for the out-of-state folks. If anyone's watching out there, I know actively looking for like the Carolinas, Atlanta, Oregon, I don't know. Anyway, stupid state.
Well, it's Oregon Trail. But
Yeah,
it's
Oregon Trail, and the state is Oregon.
That makes no sense. Oh, like the instrument.
It's
Oregon.
No, it's Oregon, and then you have Oregon.
Oh, Oregon.
And then you have the Oregon Trail.
Okay. Anyway,
we're looking for people out there.
Yeah. Anyway, anywhere. I know certain spots in Texas. If we're just open. So yes, if you're looking for a position in sales and you're in the beauty industry, come see me. Or if you're just looking to get supplements and stuff, I got the hookup for that too. So, yeah, that's it. Come work with us.
Nice.
We're
Hush and
lovely.
hush.
Yeah. Hush and hush. The secret of science. Shh. Come make commission.
And I guess it comes to me. You guys, thank you so much again for tuning in live with us. Please like, follow, and subscribe to our Facebook page, and most importantly, our YouTube channel, because we definitely need that. Shout out to our sponsors and partners at Code Rum, Hop Life Brewing, the Sneaky Tiki, Snorkel Corn Entertainment, Treasure Coast Entertainment, and Paul at the Drums and Rums podcast.
Whoop, whoop.
Please see it.
Well, maybe you can shamelessly plug me.
I do have that actually
Okay,
on the
good.
list here,
Okay.
so it'll be
Sorry,
fine.
carry on.
Please support those who support us and support local whenever you can. Be sure to check out my one-man band show around town this weekend. Tomorrow night, Thursday, I'll be at Manatee Island in Fort Pierce. Friday night, I'm nope, that's a lie. I'm not there.
JK.
Yep, just kidding. Saturday, I'll be in Oviedo. Oviedo Brewing Company up in the Orlando area. It's for a private event, but it's open to the public, so come and check that out if you want. And Sunday afternoon, you can find me at Sneaky Tiki in downtown Stewart. We love you there at Sneaky Tiki. So come and check me out sometime this weekend. If you dig our show and what we do, please consider subscribing to our Patreon page to help us afford all the things that we like to do this season. You can pledge as little as $5 a month, and it is so appreciated. That link will be in the forever link on the show here, the re-upload. For you early birdies, come wake up with me on weekday mornings for the Jams and Coffee in the morning show. I'll be live streaming my morning show live on Facebook and YouTube, hitting you with a variety of topics to talk about, local, national, and music news, my daily top 10 list, weather, and more. And occasionally we get some great traffic updates. from our various listeners, which has been very, very fun. The show starts at 7 a.m. on weekday mornings. It sounds horrendous, but I'm here. I've been doing it. And to Jordan's point, our very own Jordan Taylor will be making an appearance on the Drums and Rums biggest happy hour and a half hour tomorrow night, 8 p.m. She's joining our friend Paul Robertson for some happy hour shenanigans. So tune in for that and cheer her on. There will be a link for that in the Forever link as well. And of course, we'll be promoting it all day tomorrow. And
I'll be wearing a very special shirt.
And she'll be wearing a very special shirt. So you're not going to want to miss that. This is Jordan's first outside of our podcast experience.
I feel like I've made it,
and,
basically.
And it's gonna be great. So I'm very excited to watch that, and you should be too. That does it for my shameless plug. Yes, how about that, you guys?
Okay, bye, everyone.
Yeah, right. We are running way over time. But I hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight and learned a little something about barbershop music. It's here. It exists on the Treasure Coast. So seek it out or create a group for yourself and keep this unique music style alive and well for future generations. Let's hear it once again for the Destruction Crew, Ellie and Jordan. Join us next week for our classic match game. You're not going to want to miss that. It's a special game show edition of the JNC podcast. We are doing our version of the classic match game, and you won't want to miss this hilarious show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube and Facebook.
It's the moment I've been waiting for.
No kidding. Go and research this show so that you know what you're in for. It's going to be loads of fun. Until then, you guys, drink some water, sing with a barbershop quartet, and take care of yourselves and each other. One note I'd like to say, it's the biggest, brightest full moon out there tonight.
Yeah, it's called the Buck Moon.
The Buck Moon. Yeah. You're going to get the biggest and brightest full moon out there tonight. So watch out for werewolves and weirdos, kiddies. Broadcasting live from the legendary JNC Lounge. I'm Brad Brock. I'll see you tomorrow on the Jams and Coffee radio show here on Facebook and YouTube. We love you.
He's been up many hours, folks.
Seriously, this has been going on since 5 a.m. We love you. Good night.
Thank you. You think that?
Don't you know where the song